Oh, that's it. We're live. So, welcome, guys, to the first installment of Free Saltines featuring the Salt Mine, Super Gallo, and Super Frozen, and Nobody
Super
Knocks.
Gallo.
Nobody, nobody knocks.
I'm a superhero, dude.
Nobody knocks. That's right.
This is the first episode. Basically, this is a stream dedicated and centered around Project Melee play and only Project Melee play, where the viewers can ask you questions, send your matchups of you and your friends and things like that. We could break it down for you, help you out with that meta and things like that. So, without further ado, we'll throw it over to Frozen. Introduce yourself.
Hi guys, I'm FS Frozen. I main Mewtwo in PM, used to main Lucario. And I'm younger than I look, I guess, because people always agree that that's the first thing that's like brought up.
It's the neckbeard.
Yeah,
He's the
definitely.
Free Saltines prodigy.
Mhm.
All right.
Only I was good.
All right. So now, toss it over to Gallo.
Hey guys, I'm Free Saltines Gallo, and I play Mario and shoot a lot of fireballs. I'm not that good, but I'm trying to get better.
And then we have our guest for the night. We have a little highlight video of him playing right now. That way, in case everyone knows who Nobody Knocks is, there you go. Knox, you
He's
want to
playing
introduce
right
yourself?
now, actually.
He's actually playing right now. You would know Mike, by the way. Your mic's muted. Oh, that's it. Just professional stuff right here.
As
That's right, he's a
professional as
god.
it gets. I am a god at not paying attention.
At
Actually,
life. Yeah.
At life. I mean Captain Falcon, because I am a masochist, and I'm not
Some people just like to
as
watch.
good as any of the other people in this chat, but I am getting there.
I got.
Hey, you're better than Messi.
There you go. You're better than me.
Wow, I'm better
just
than
threw it
that.
out there.
You just threw it out. That's fucked up.
No problem. No problem. And well, he introduced me right there by calling me Messi and saying that I suck. I'm a
Damn.
Mario main from Brooklyn, New York. I'm a Scorpio and I long walks down the beach and whatnot.
Scorpio boys.
Real quick, disclaimer. Normally on my stream, if you guys have ever tuned in, there's big notifications and stuff like that. When you follow, there's noises. When you donate, there's noises, things like that. I'm pretty sure the sounds have been disabled. That way you keep a free flow going, kind of like what I do in my interview series. And we're going to go ahead and kind of explain what's going on as it's going on. Obviously, you have the introduction going on right now. You have Nox's video playing in the background to kind of acquaint you guys with that. And we're going to just jump into small things like the recent news around PM, and then we're going to go from there. So Gallo wanted to jump into, or he didn't want to jump into it because he placed really bad, but
Wow.
New Year's.
Let's
His
talk
own
about
words.
this New Jersey tournament that just happened over the
I'm pretty sure you
weekend.
got fifth.
They tried to make it like a mini major, but I don't know. Enough people showed up to call it one, I guess.
The problem was the venue size itself, I heard.
The venue's very small, and a lot of us were just hanging out outside the venue most of the time.
In the path mark.
It was in a path mark. So we went shopping for groceries.
And then what's going on with everyone else and their PM stuff? I know Mike or Nox just recently went to Nebulous last week for the beta test. And
Yeah,
how'd that
I
run?
definitely want to know how that went.
That actually, it was a really nice venue. Like,
Like a conversation.
we actually have like 2 floors that we could use.
Dude, I'm so excited about that.
Like, even the first floor itself is just already bigger than the old Nebulous venue. And we had a
Nice.
decent turnout. We had about like 25 people for Smash 4 and about like 20 for PM, I think, which is decent for like a beta test.
Yeah, it was, just a demo, basically.
Yeah.
If you guys
Nobody
don't,
really knew about
don't
it.
know what Nebulous is, it's a weekly over here in New York City, where we get a lot of tri-state attention here. And we've been lucky enough to where we're going to be moved into a bigger venue officially, I guess, on February 8th. And you can constantly find people like Nox and like Gallo and Frozen and Guru and DJ Nintendo and Vance and like some really high caliber players there. And we're gonna try to hit up on Nebulous and the movement forward with that, along with other things tonight too. If you guys have any quick questions, or if they're regional, like wide questions, like tournaments in your area and stuff like that, we'll do our best to kind of get that information to you guys. So let's see, we talked about Nebs a little bit. Beast 5, obviously that happened not too long ago.
Right.
Mango winning PM, and I think a lot of people were, I guess, surprised that Mango ended up winning. but not because
Yeah,
of like a
as
lack of
someone who
skill.
hasn't played, as someone who doesn't really play PM too often, but
I have a
fundamentals
reason.
carry over between games. So
Gallo
I
has
have
a
a
great
theory
reason
of
for
why,
it. Yeah.
you have a
why
theory.
the melee players are doing so well is because I think now the Project M team really has shown that they were successful in bringing the melee characters as close as they can possibly to their old melee incarnations. So since these high-level melee players that have played for melee for all those years, and they really know like so much about their character and they're so developed, they honestly should be winning big tournaments like that because they put a lot of time into those characters, way more than Project M players have put into theirs.
Yeah, it's very true. Like the metagame for most characters, well, most newer characters in Project M is pretty underdeveloped, and especially with the most recent change in 3.5, which is probably one of the most radical updates to Project M thus far. Yeah, it's going to require a lot of adapting.
Yeah, and the Project M players and the like Project M character exclusive players, they'll get there. We just need to, develop the metagame and learn the matchups.
Yeah, and that's something I've hit on a couple times over here with both when I had Prague and Reno here. It's not necessarily that characters got buffed on the melee side. It's just what you're saying. They're made free flowing to what they were. So there's a comfort level there, and obviously Mango being the goat, as he likes to put it in melee, that kind of transcends pretty quickly and pretty easily to a game like PM, because that was the goal with the melee characters from, I guess I would assume day one. There wasn't much to change in that area. So any comments on that, Nox?
Any comments on what?
Nox the god.
Nox the god.
God of not paying attention.
Sorry, I said the guy not paying attention. I was actually trying to advertise the stream and the
inevitable?
talk. No, on my Tumblr and in some Smash groups on Facebook.
All right,
So I wasn't
appreciate
paying
that.
attention.
It's okay. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Daddy wasn't there.
If I may ask, who was in Grand Finals fighting Mango?
Professor Pro.
Professor Pro.
And it was a great set.
Professor Pro is just... God, is there anyone more fun to watch lately?
Yeah, he's a really
Nope.
solid player.
The
He's the most
the,
entertaining player in the universe.
the money match between Professor Pro and Rolex, that really hype one, is what got me into Project M.
Reno last night during the plethora of questions we went over, one of the first things he said was, "I love watching Professor Pro," and he doesn't even like really touch PM. He's like, "I just love watching him play PM."
Yeah, he just
and he freaked out over the snake combo Epis 5 like everyone else did with the tranks, with the double tranks and all that stuff. It was ridiculous. And speaking of Apex and Reno and things like that, we had him on here last night and we discussed the direction of the PM community. And he didn't seem too far-fetched from the stuff that we've talked about, not exactly on stream or anything, but he brought up the idea of PM being a very not a strong community, and I think some other people have hit up on it too, on various other things on Reddit and things like that, where I think the analogy was that PM is a community of a bunch of islands rather than as a whole.
Right.
And that's what might cause issues in the upcoming months and years and things of that nature. What do you guys see it as? And I'll let Frozen take the floor first because we discussed it last night, and then Gallo, I know we've definitely talked about it a couple times since we've met.
Okay, so basically I've seen since 3.5's release, but also because it released such a similar time to Smash 4, I feel as if people may have seen a little bit of potential in Smash 4 because it's new and all that. So as right now, it's kind of dwindling Project M, but the thing is that people are saying that it'll just blow over. Like, Smash 4 apparently is just going to die off in the wind or something, and PM will revive itself. It will not revive itself if we don't do something about it. The same way Melee didn't revive itself until the revival of Melee tournaments and whatnot. PM is community driven. It's like it's made by the community for the community, and without that, Project M will be doomed. But we do have the resources and tools to make it like readily known.
And Gallo, you want to piggyback off of that a little bit?
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything Frozen said. I think the main thing is our community finding its own identity. And, becoming our own unit in the realm of one unit Smash. So we need to there's one unit, but we can't just expect all the other communities to just help us throw tournaments. We need to throw our own tournaments,
Yeah.
and then we'll be in that unit because we'll also be a community ourselves. G unit. Guru says G
Guru
unit.
in the
Well, the
back.
Guru would say unit. And
Nox tuning in.
and Nox is finally part of the conversation. What do you have to say about that? I mean, I did see you catch the last part of that conversation, or last part of the interview with Reno. Was there anything you want to throw in there?
Throw in there? No, I mean, just the same as Gallo and Frozen said. I mean, we do need to stop piggybacking off of previous tournaments. We need to have our own anything. We have to have. We're nothing. Like, we don't have an identity.
It's
Well,
funny.
I wouldn't say that. We do have an identity, but I feel like as of right now, the community's a little distraught and a little bit separated over both Smash 4's release and the 3.5 changes, which are a bit alienating to some players that have played PM since close to the beginning, like Demo 2.1 and such.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's obviously no hate on Smash 4 either. It's a very solid game, and I do play it myself quite a lot. But yeah, PM, like, it definitely could use a good revival right now. And I think the future tournaments like Shots Fired and Flexo, which is this weekend actually, will definitely help.
Especially Shots Fired, since it's a national tournament and Mewtwo is going along with a lot of other big name players.
Right.
So people, they just need to look for tournaments, because if you want to join the PM community and you want to show
One of
your
the
skills.
one of the funny things we brought up off stream earlier was Nox was just saying it's funny how you don't know anything about the community, but you know things about the community toward me. And that's because basically I haven't really taken it seriously since around the beginning of December. And right off the bat, like, I think one of the first conversations me and Gallo had was, what's going on with the community? Like, why does this seem so unstable? And the question I want to relay to you guys is, I mean, we have, Frozen, you're part of Dev, and you have Guru, which is somewhere in the background. You can see like a very nice shirt in the background. That's Guru. If it's evident,
Guru.
if it's evident to us, how often does conversation come up to you guys about your?
they mentioned you.
How often is it up to you guys where this discussion is had? Like, guys, the community is I'm kind of worried where it's going. Is that conversation come up often, or is it something where you just have to kind of focus on one thing and try not to think about it?
Are you talking about like
That
in the
exact
backroom?
exactly. Backroom or dev team, just like, are you guys thinking about this exact conversation the same way we
Oh,
probably
it has been a concern in the past. I can't really delve too much into like what goes on back in the dev team, but
a lot of
it's
cocaine.
definitely been brought up, of course.
Okay, so going on from that, and like Gallup brought up a good point, you have to go to your tournaments. If you're in a local area and you don't have a Smash scene, you have to make one. You grab your friends, and one of you guys has to just become the alpha TO and figure out how to do it little by little and take these baby steps, because a really I guess prevalent Reddit post on one of the things that Reno had posted last night was the lack of PM isn't because of players, it's because of lack of TOs.
Right.
The
PM
and then-
exclusive TOs especially.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
and
very
then
true.
Gallo kind of said, well, the issue isn't the fact that we don't have TOs, it's just the TOs do other things and PM just happens to be there. So if you're in an area where it's hard to find your local smashers, you need to try to find a nice epicenter where you can throw everyone together and really get the ball rolling, and that's what you're going to start. You'll start branching off, and you'll start getting fire, and what ends up happening is people will travel, because they don't want to go to just their weekly, they want to go to your weekly too. And they want more exposure to the game, and that's how you'll grow the scene in your area, and then hopefully, start doing regionals and things like that. So really quick for the chat while we kill time and whatnot. If you guys have any videos you'd like to submit of maybe you playing a friend, or you have an issue with a matchup, or you have something that's very 3.5 relevant and you just can't get it, please go ahead and post it up in chat, and then we'll post it up on the main screen over here, like Dallas Cowboy Stadium. We got the main screen, and we'll see if we can break down the video for you and help you out through that. As we said in the beginning, this is going to be kind of like the place to go for just information around not just oh, this is going on with this, with the tournament scene. But also, if you guys have questions, sometimes it's very intimidating if you turn on a VG bootcamp stream and you have people playing at 300 miles an hour and you don't know what's going on, and you ask chat and all you get is about 100 kappa emotes.
Or copy pastas about sexually abused attack helicopters.
The first thing chat throws out, which made me cringe, was 4chan/V is having a tournament right now. I don't know how I feel about that. And then there's a couple of they went straight for questions. They're not even going with matchups. So here's the questions. I'm a Game and Watch. How the asterisk do I deal with spacies?
Spacies. I've been learning a lot about spacey matchups recently, thanks to DJ Nintendo and Vans, who are amazing Melee players, and they play Project M in our scene in New York. So they have been telling me that against spacies, since they have just such superior offensive options, you have to bait them, like, no matter what. You can't, like, brainlessly approach. You can never mindlessly approach, of course, because they have great out-of-shield options also. So what you want to do most of the time is bait them, like, run up to them, throw out a move near them, space it well, and, coax them to throw out an attack, like a Fox Nair or something. And then, either shield grab it if they misspace it, or pivot grab it if you read it coming, because pivot grab actually beats Fox Nair and Falco Nair, which is really useful.
It's a really useful technique.
Yeah.
It's also helpful that I actually learned this from Emu Killer mostly, is that you should be holding center stage usually, because that pressures the Fox or Falco player to approach you rather than still dash jamming back and forth, especially in Fox's case. Or Falco, right. He doesn't want, like, they don't want their space to be too invaded. Because, like, the closer you get to them, the less room they have to dash jam around the field. So right. You cut off their option, but don't directly approach them.
And then
get them to throw the first move.
Right, and then work on your punish game as much as you can, because once you touch a spacey, you have to make the most of it.
Another question is from a main. Oh, actually, who do you main? You gotta let me know a little bit more information on that. The question was just basically, how do you not get? I'm assuming the word is fucked by Wario.
Ooh, Guru
yeah. Which is perfect because you got Guru right here.
I'll give the mic to Guru.
So Yash, just let me know what you main, and we'll go ahead and switch the mic over.
Alright. I didn't sign up for this.
You're signed up by association. Just give them a sec. They're gonna let us know who they main, and then you're gonna let them know how to deal with Wario. He mains Ness. You guys can blame Guru, by the way, for Wario. Go ahead.
For Wario, up on the Wario bandwagon.
Well, I believe you played versus Ness before.
So there you go. So the Wario Ness matchup. What do you do as Ness in that situation?
Oh, what you should do as Ness?
Or basically as a Wario main, what are your weak points? What can we do to stop you and your shoulder?
Well, Wario thankfully gets, or not thankfully, his out of shield options aren't too great. I mean, he has Nair out of shield. A good Ness will definitely abuse double jump cancel. Eli and Stereo Kid, for example, who are in our crew, they play very good Ness, and they're always very on point with the shield pressure. Wario has a lot of trouble handling shield pressure because his out of shield options aren't very good. He doesn't have a really good wave dash. He really only has Nair.
I'd imagine Ness's fair and dash attack are a pretty useful tool, considering Wario's historically known to struggle with disjointed aerials or attacks.
Right, yeah. Range is another issue for Wario, so you can definitely use a lot of fair, well-spaced PK fires just for zoning. Yeah. Wario has a lot of issue with that. I firmly believe that characters with decent range are very good against with Wario, like sword characters with big disjoints, like Ness is fair is a really good tool.
Or Tails.
Tails, yeah.
It would help also.
Offensive pressure.
Okay. It would also,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Frozen.
Okay. It would help if you don't really use too many low knockback moves. I know I just mentioned fair and dash attack before, but Wario has a good crouch cancel game in particular because he has a very fast down tilt and his weight is pretty useful for crouch canceling.
He's a heavyweight, so that with his very fast tilt is really good.
Just space your moves properly, try to get around that. But Ness definitely has the tools to be able to do that.
Right, and just so you guys know, shield beats side B. So
Yeah, I've seen people.
Nox
Yeah.
refuses to believe it.
it's as simple as shielding, guys.
I still
Shield,
see people
wave
say
dash
that-
in, or just do an attack out of shield. It's very laggy, very punishable.
Very punishable.
Don't
think
don't
the best
get
stuff-
intimidated by the shoulder. I think a lot of newer players on the matchup, not maybe newer players to the game, but just to that matchup, get intimidated by the shoulder.
Right.
And that's like one of the.
Scary.
And even when I played you against the first time, that's the first thing I remembered in my head was Nox complaining about the shoulder, but then remembering he mentioned just stay in shield, and
Shield, yep.
it made it so much easier. And I mean, obviously, it still sucked playing against you, but it made it easier to deal with. And Dupe had a question, and I know for a fact pretty much no one's going to want to answer this one specifically because it has to do with net play. Do you guys have any tips for a net playing Ness? I feel like there's the slight input makes my up B really difficult to do, and I feel like I can't down B jump waveland as easily.
Yeah, it's just net play input lag in general. It's just not the greatest environment to be in. I mean, it's definitely more serviceable than Wi-Fi for sure. And as someone who's played Lucario Wi-Fi for about a year and a half or so, you definitely do not want to try Wi-Fi. Net play is a much better experience, but it's still not as optimal as offline play. There's still some input lag, and considering Ness is a pretty technical character in general with his double jump cancels and his Shine-esque down B, yeah, he can be pretty difficult to control properly.
The one thing I'll tell you is you'll catch me playing net play a lot. Mostly it's because I stream, and as a streamer, I want to involve my chat and I want to involve my followers a lot. Try not to. I know that sounds odd, but I've never met anyone that plays at tournament scenes a lot that enjoyed net play. I'm pretty sure when Guru and Gallo first came over to my setup and they saw I was on Dolphin, not even on net play locally, it was like a small conniption in both their hearts. And and Frozen feels the same way, and Dark Blues felt the same way. You want to steer clear for it as much as you can. If you feel like that's the only way you're going to get practice in, you might want to consider just doing better practice methods with a CPU. Reno brought up a good point. Like I was messing around with Captain Falcon, and he was looking at me, and he was like, "No, you have to zero det the computer. You have to tech chase the entire time."
Yeah.
And he's like, if you find a character you like, you find that character's strength, and you have to try to zero det that computer using your character's strengths and playing it smart. And that might be a better method. Remember, it's quality over quantity. You can play for 10 hours a day, but if you're not putting any real quality into it, it doesn't matter how much you've played.
Don't actually try to beat the CPU with normal methods. Instead, like practice something like evading all the CPU's moves for a full minute, or as Reno said, zero det in the CPU in some way. And that's probably the best way you can improve without anyone else to fight against.
More specifically, level 7s tend to be or use more realistic DI than level 9s. Level 9s do some crazy DI sometimes.
And SDI. Like
no normal human would likely do. So level 7 is a good level to train with, because it's probably the most realistic as far as human DI. And then just work on your punish game, because I agree, punish game is so important.
Especially against the most relevant characters. Like you have characters like Fox and Falco and Diddy and Lucas that are like semi-fast ballers or fast ballers, which basically thrive off. If you don't have a solid punish game, they will thrive off that. And since they usually have superior neutrals, you have to make sure that you're getting those hits as scarce as they might be, and then maximizing your damage output off them and converting them into edge guards or KOs.
Definitely, yeah. The two most important aspects are definitely neutral game is also equally important, but that's a little hard to work when you don't have a human player accessible. So punish game, easily you can always work on that.
All right, so I'm seeing if there's any other questions that were thrown around. Trent from the Nebulous team says respect the shoulder.
Respect the shoulder.
Josh said thank you for the advice. That's no problem. That's what it's about.
Respect the shoulder.
And let's see.
I mean, shoulder bash, to be honest, is not a very good move to use in neutral.
Yeah, it's very unsafe on block, and
very
a
unsafe.
Simple wave dash out of shields will be able to punish it.
It's moderately useful on platform stages because of the land cancel,
Right.
But aside from that,
A shield will still beat that though. Like if it hits your shield and
Right.
heavy lands, he'll still have end lag.
yeah. So it's simple as shielding. You have ages to punish it.
Almighty from Nebulous came in a little late. I guess he missed your explanation. He just said, me and Malachi right now saying Wario is the ultimate jank opinions. Anytime, dude, anytime your face is visible, Guru, you bring problems. You bring Wario problems, man. I don't know if this is a serious question from Dupe, but it's basically, does the PMDT really feel that bad about blank 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 getting leaked because of lack of potential hype from a trailer or something? So I guess there was a leak. I heard about leak. I don't know how much of it is real. It was like Luna or something like that, and Knuckles or something like that. They're not gonna talk about it. I don't know why you guys even ask these questions.
That's not something.
Even if that was a thing.
Like I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why you guys bring up those questions. Trent's causing problems, asking why is Sonic low tier and discuss.
Why is
Who still
in
plays
Project
Sonic?
M? I don't think
Yeah.
Sonic is low tier in Project M.
Does West still play around with Sonic?
The thing about Sonic is that he has the best dash chance in the game, and a dash speed that's 1.5 times greater than Falcon, which, as you can imagine, is pretty ridiculously fast as characteristic of Sonic as that is. But having a great dash chance like that immediately gives you like a pretty solid neutral game in general. And Sonic still has disjointed tilts with his feet. I believe his feet don't have hurt boxes anymore. I'm not totally sure about that. They might, but well, it's a normal thing for most characters not to have feet hurt boxes, but Sonic originally did, I think, because his feet are noticeably big, just like Kirby, I believe, or Meta Knight maybe.
Yeah, Kirby's, I believe, had small hitboxes on the heel of his feet.
Yeah, but he too had invincible moves, like his back air, I think, is invincible on his feet. So.
Yeah. But honestly, in a game like Project M or any melee setting, mobility is king, and Sonic definitely has mobility. So it's very difficult to do much to Sonic to make him low tier naturally, just because he's so fast. You know, he can cover so much options, so much distance in neutral that you have to respect a lot of his options. You know, superior edge guarding.
Edge guard game as well, so you do not want to be in like an unfavorable position against him because he will capitalize quite well.
Yeah, exactly.
And Almighty, I know you missed a little bit out of it, but basically what we discussed about earlier about the Wario matchup in general is you want to use heavy knockback moves because Wario's crouch canceling is very good, but you also want to take advantage of the fact that Wario isn't that great out of shield, and the fact that you can avoid this shoulder that everyone's so afraid of by actually shielding, waiting it out, and being smart of how you punish that. He can't recover.
High-level Warriors will generally use the shoulder bash only as a tech chase option, really, or somewhat of a movement tool on platform stages. But otherwise, yeah, using it in neutral is way too risky for the reward. One of the big things about Wario as well is that he has a command grab. So relying on your shield is an easy thing to do generally in Smash. Yeah, and you know, characters with command grabs have that amazing option to have a grab in the air. So always be careful with that. Don't rely on your shield too much against Wario. Good Warriors will catch on to that and use the bite to counter your shield.
And as much as that sounds weird, because we just told you to shield side B basically anytime you can, you want to mix up. If you see Wario about to land on your shield, you obviously know he's not going to side B. He's going to try and bite. So there are certain situations where you pretty much, it's kind of telegraphed what he's going to do. So be sure to recognize those positions. Like he's not going to side B right on top of you. And even if he does, it'll be pretty weak at that point. It's right next to someone that's kind of weak.
Yeah. The damage and the hitbox grows as Wario travels. Remember that. So in the very beginning, it's not disjointed at all. It's negatively disjointed, so you can easily beat it out with most moves.
Okay,
Towards the end is when it gets really bigger.
We have another question right here, and then what we'll do is we'll jump into the upcoming events around the area and just in general that if you definitely want to go support if you're near it. The question is from Quill. By the way, welcome back, Quill. Question is, hey Messi and the gang, I don't know if anyone can answer, but how can you everyone can answer this. Don't worry. How can you approach Roy with Squirtle? I get beat by a guy who
Ooh.
picked up Roy for one game to beat me. Every other character he's decided to play, I destroy him with. So Squirtle v Roy, issues with being the Squirtle.
Oh man, I wish I
Gallo
had.
has no idea.
any
Gallo
kind-
has no idea. Gallo doesn't. Gallo has no idea about Squirtle life. I know that for a fact. I asked him the other day.
So yeah, I don't really know too much about Squirtle either, but I do know a little bit about Roy. What he wants to try to do is that he's kind of a mid-range spacer. Like he wants you to be like in his sword range, but he also has tools to break through your crouch cancel like down tilt, which has a massive 90 base knockback. You don't want to be like up close in his face too much. Like Squirtle has superior mobility in most cases. He has a really long wave dash. He has the tools to force Roy to commit. He usually has to commit more to like a short hop fair than Marth would, which is kind of a pretty useful thing considering I believe Roy is usually better than Marth, but in this case, getting Roy to commit to a short hop aerial is a lot easier than getting Marth to commit to an option. So you should definitely take advantage of not directly hitting him, just like you would with like someone like Fox. You want to try to get him to swing a sword and then punish him for it. And then when you get Roy off stage, just go out and try to edge guard him. Don't try to just grab the ledge because he has his up B floats for quite a while and has like this huge disjointed multi-hit hitbox. Just go out. If you trade, that's still good because all Roy requires to edge guard is just one solid hit and he's dead. Like his recovery is decent if you let him try to go back to the ledge, but if he tries to throw out an aerial to cover himself, he's probably dead too. So just go out and edge guard him. Use like Squirtle's Nair, or I'm not really sure what else. Forward air, yeah. Forward air is very strong.
One thing Frozen mentioned there is it's really good against just all swords in general, and that is making them attack and then punishing them for it. Because in general, like characters with swords in this game, they have really good ranged attacks, but they're like laggy afterwards. So you got to punish right after they attack. So
Right.
it's like a lot of baiting and punishing.
Okay, so we're gonna go up to upcoming events right now. If you do think of any questions, don't be afraid to just ask them. But with the upcoming events right now, we have Flex Zone coming up. Mike, you're going to that, correct?
Yes, I am.
Where at? What day?
It's Sunday. That would be the 18th. Bracket
That'll
starts
be
at
a-
12 o'clock. Don't be
Yeah,
late.
it's a little bit early, but there's a lot of professional players there. You've got MDVA coming out, like Seagull Joe. I believe Junebug isn't coming anymore, but I know Seagull is for sure because I'm teaming with
I
him
think
actually.
Professor Pro is gonna be at
Professor
Flex Zone, right?
Pro and
Yes,
Fuzziness
Professor
are
Pro
coming
is
as well,
gonna
so
be-
you've got some UK attendance in that. So
Yeah.
So it's gonna
Everyone
look
wants
out
to
for
see
him.
Professor Pro. So
there might
let's
be a
get in.
Professor Pro versus Rolex money match run back, so be sure to stay tuned for that.
Yeah, hopefully.
You gotta go. Oh my god.
I don't think that's something he can back down from. Like that has to happen. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, if I was Rolex, I might back down too. Just saying.
We also have
Rolex has been complaining a lot about 3.5 Snake, and Professor Pro's been putting in a lot of work.
if
Yeah.
if New York and if the New York area is a little too far away from you, and you're around like Virginia, and you want to take a little bit of a drive, Shots Fired is in Eastern Pennsylvania.
Yes, Easton, Pennsylvania,
Easton, Pennsylvania.
which is right next to New Jersey, but it's gonna be a really big tournament. So I really recommend anyone who can come to come, because they have a lot of pop bonuses and a lot of big names are coming, like featuring Mewtwo King, MDVA, Seagull Joe, Junebug, Emu Killer, Frozen. So it's going to be big, and that could be one of the pedestals to start Project M off. Like,
And that's
let's launch us.
a PM only thing, correct? It's not like
No, it's all the games, but it's
it's
Project M focused.
okay, awesome.
Right. Like there's a bigger pop bonus for Project M. I think it's about $500 now.
Right. So if you want to play the other games too, you still can. But what's good about it is we finally have a PM centered tournament. The hosts are all Project M players, Easton
Right.
Smash crew, and they're all really cool.
This is actually exactly what we were talking about earlier. It's like making progress towards being our own community rather than piggybacking off the other Smash games. We've already made some strides in that, but we can't just stop trying right now.
Can't settle.
Yeah, we can't just settle.
Um,
Especially with Smash 4 like gaining some popularity in Steam.
and then basically it's our home, more your guys' home. Neo Nebs is gonna start on February 8th. For people that aren't from the tri-state area, Nebulous is the weekly over here, and we moved out to a bigger venue, and it's gonna be fantastic. I think who was saying it was like 2 floors.
Yeah, it is a
It's
really big venue.
It we're constantly every week is Smash 4 and PM on Sundays, and then
Melee Saturdays.
Melee's on Saturdays. Bigger venue. We have stream set up for it. Free Saltines is the PM stuff. So twitch.tv/Free Saltines will do all the PM stuff, and you can catch that on Sundays. I believe it alternates every week still. So, you know, one week you'll catch PM a little bit later than normally, and then the next week you'll see a little bit earlier. So that's something to keep in mind. And hold on, let me reopen this. And you'll see DJ Nintendo there, you'll see Gallo there, Frozen, Vans, Guru, obviously. Did I miss anyone really good? I mean, there's a lot of really good players. For
Nebulous?
Nebs.
Malachi.
Malachi is really good.
Malachi.
Dark
Great
Blues.
Peach.
Malachi's definitely up and coming. Like, he started to have much closer sets recently, so yeah, he's a pretty solid player.
The children are coming up. Between you, Malachi, and Dark, just the children.
Yeah. You little kids.
And Almighty's 15.
Speaking of little kids, Aklo's actually coming to Flex Zone, so
Right.
I believe
He's a
in,
link to watch out for, guys, because
He's in DJ
has
Nintendo.
taken a lot of big names.
yeah, he's in DJ Nintendo's bracket, so I want to see how that plays out for sure.
That'll be interesting, but DJ is so good in 3.5s.
And
Super
yeah,
solid
and
player.
yes,
That's
Kimo.
why I'm
DJ,
turns out.
we didn't get to touch on how New Year's went, which was the tournament in New Jersey last week.
Right.
Yeah, DJ actually beat Emu Killer in grand finals, like pretty
Yeah.
solidly, like 3-1 convincing.
Wow.
So I think DJ is definitely a force to reckon with in this version
Um,
of Project M.
and yeah, Keyman, I will be at Nebulous also. And if all still stay into the plan, I'll be commentating PM top 8 also. So there's a lot of things going on. You have to go out there and support your area. And if you're having issues finding a place, Smashboards is still really good for it. Obviously, Reddit is really good for it. Even here on my stream, because I've gotten a hold of people on Reddit that are like in their own areas, and I've let them know to let me know if there's any.
There's other games on like Gecko and stuff.
Yeah, if there's any tournaments or anything going on, to let me know, and I basically just kind of forward that information to you guys, so you're not left out of the loop. And there's always a Smash community; it just might not be made yet in your area, so just keep that in mind, guys. Any last final questions before we sign off? And
Gotta like hold it, I think.
hold this.
Oh.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. And I hope you guys have at
Stop
least
pressing it so much.
learned something or have taken something away from this and kind of enjoyed it. It is kind of roughly thrown together, but it has the idea
I
of
turn it off and turn it back
the
on.
community first. You know, if you guys have questions,
Oh, now I do.
we do our best to answer it
Well,
for
it's
you.
off.
If we don't have the answer, we'll probably find it for you, you know, pretty quickly. And it's definitely centered around the competitive scene for PM and only PM because it's kind of what it deserves. But I don't see any other questions, so I think that's it for episode 1 of the
Just
Salt
about wrapped
Mines.
up.
All right, so thank you again for your time, Frozen and Gallo. You'll see us every week. And guest hosting, we have Nox, who just was the muscle of the show, just stood around in his way.
Muscle.
over there.
The god of the show.
The god of the show. Nobody
Just
Nox
the-
showing
I
up.
was overwatching everything, making sure everything ran smoothly.
Keyman really quick said Nox and Messi versus Frozen and Gallo teams sounds like a good match. You should set that up. That's not actually possible because me and Gallo are teaming as Double Mario. That's
All right,
yeah,
so
set
then
in
me and
stone.
Frozen.
Besides that, it
double
already
Mewtwo.
happened.
When is that happening?
Oh
anyway?
yeah, that did happen. That didn't go well. That didn't go well actually. That went very poorly.
What, the Double Mario team?
No.
we,
You guys played
played
us when we messed around as Double Falcons. Well, Mike wasn't messing around because he
in a
was
round
Falcon.
robin doubles tournament we did. Remember?
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and Gallo was like, "Well, I know that's Nox because he's edge sliding."
Yeah, in that voice too.
But this is going to be posted up on YouTube also in case your buddies missed it or if you got half of an explanation to a question you possibly had. Thank you again for tuning in. Like I mentioned, it's going to be a weekly thing with Gallo and Frozen, and we'll have some guest hosts along the way. Don't forget to follow them on Twitter. Their tags are underneath them. And
Just
don't forget
make
to
this Twitter
follow.
right here.
He
I
just
just
made
And
it.
also send us questions and stuff for next week on, I guess, Messi's Reddit or something.
Or the YouTube comments. Like,
Yeah, you
we'll
can-
be sure to answer those next week.
You can message on the YouTube comments different questions. You can hit me up on Reddit. You can hit me up on my Twitch channel. Also, Free Saltines, twitch.tv/Free Saltines for the PM stream on Nebulous. That's going to be February 8th starting, and then it'll be weekly after that. And then also you can go ahead and follow myself if you think I'm a cute kind of guy. So other than that, I think we're done for the night. Gallo rolled his eyes because he's like, yeah, not good looking as me. But you guys have
Makes
a wonderful
sense.
night, and thanks for coming out.
Night, guys.
That